Welcome to this video about walkable maps. It's an iEarth project that we got funded, and we will show you in this tutorial on how to produce a walkable map. And it's a click-along tutorial, so you will be able to do it by yourself. We're using existing data sets that you can just download online from the internet, but you can also use later on then your own data set that you derive, for instance, from UAV data or drone data. We are using a bunch of different softwares, and the first one will be QGIS.
So QGIS is a free and open source. It is basically a geographical information system where you can edit and analyze geographical data. We will use DMs and texture for the maps to actually put it into the walkable maps that we can use later. We are going to use DMs and texture to make the maps in QGIS that we later is going to put into Blender and the walkable maps.
In the next part of the video, I will show you in Blender how to use the DEM as a basis for the 3D information and then layer the texture on top that you could use or that you produce in GIS with any sort of geo information on top. In the third part of the video, I will show you how to import it into the Unreal Engine and how to start up your map that you can drop down as a little robot and walk around on your own research area.
So in the last part of the video, we're also going to show how you can use it as a school project or scientific research. We will make maps that can be used as mass balance project for virtual fieldwork that is possible to do from everywhere. In this video, I will show you what to click on in QGIS to make a easy and nice looking map that we're later going to process in Blender and then use it for the video game. So I will need a DM and a texture map. And since this example is from Svalbard, I will be using the free data services that is available for Svalbard, but you can also use whatever that is available for the area of interest. I will also be using Windows as my operating system for this tutorial, but other operating systems as Mac is fully possible as well. So first I need to open an empty project in QGIS and then go into the Norwegian Polar Institute's website with the map data and services and scroll down to the base map services that you will find here. And for the texture map, I want to be using a orthophoto. So I will right-click the WMTS and copy the link address and then go back to my project in QGIS. So here I will find the WMTS again and right-click it to open a new connection and paste the URL in here and give it a suitable name. All right, so I will double-click the base map, and there you can see you have a orthophoto from Svalbard. So I will now zoom into the area of interest. So for this example, I will be using Longyearbyen and Longyearbyen as the 3D map. So you will just have to decide which scale you want it and what will fit best in the video game that you are going to make. So now I also need to add a DM to this project to actually can extract a 3D map that I'm later going to use for the video game. So again, I will go back to the web browser and then search up data at npolar at no/home. So you will then get to this webpage, which is also provided by the Norwegian Polar Institute. Search up Svalbard DM and find the merged NPI Arctic DM. So from here, you have to download the zip file that is over here, but I already extracted it in a folder, so I will go directly back to my project in QGIS. And from here on, you're going to add it as another raster layer. So I will press on layers, add layer, and add raster layer. So from here on, I will find it by pressing the three dots and then click on the TIFF file that we want to be using for DM and then add. So now you see I have a DM of the same area as my texture or the orthophoto. So if I press this off, you can still see that I have the texture on the map, but this is showing the different color scales of the elevation change. So I want to be using this as images that we are using for making the 3D map in Blender. So I need to export this as images as well. So what I'm doing then is clicking on Project, Import, Export, and Export Map to Image. So here you can still change the scale for the map or the resolution to have it in the way that you want it for the video game. I am going to keep it like it is right now. And the important part is to not move around on the map after you save the first image, because you want the coordinates to be exactly the same and the picture to be exactly the same size when you're using it for Blender. I will also click on the map canvas extent to make sure that this is kind of locked into this scale and this picture format. So save it as a DM. And then I will click off the DM, go back to the orthophoto and do the exact same thing. So project, import, export, and export to image. Click off the map canvas extent and make sure that the scale is exactly the same. And save this one as texture. Alright, so now you have extracted both of the images that you will need to later be working with it in Blender.
Now I will show you how you can create out of these two images a 3D landscape in Blender. And in the background you see here, this is just a new default project. And the first thing is you can mark this cube and press delete because we don't need it. And then you press Shift A and add a plane. For the plane, you can press N, and then you see here from this little arrow here on the side, you see this dimension. And we need to get this plane in the right ratio. You can check the ratio if you click with the right mouse button here on properties on your picture, and then the details, and here it's enough to get the ratio right. It doesn't need to be the exact value. So 1.6 by 0.9 is fine. 1.6 by 0.9. And now zoom a little bit in, click on the plane and press tabulator. And you see this like 4 vertices, and then you click right click, subdivide. Open this menu and put the number of cuts to 10, and then click again on it, subdivide, and do it again. That should be enough. You can increase or decrease the amount of cuts. That's up to your system and how detailed you want to have your landscape. The next step is click on this little tool here, click on add modifier and add a displace modifier. Then click on new, click on these two bars here, leave the type to image or movie, and then press open. And then go to your project and open the right file. And in this case, you would take the DEM video. And you see now that you have the DEM here. If you click again here on this tool button, you can decrease the strength a bit. So let's go for 0.5 here at the moment. And then you right click on this and use Shade Smooth to make it look a bit prettier. In the next step, we want to export this as the 3D file that the Unreal Engine can read. So go on Export and then on FBX. And navigate through the folder you want to save it in and give it a name. And then you need to click on selected objects so that it's not exporting anything else but the plane. And then you go to export FBX. And then you can check in your Windows folder with a double click. If you have the 3D viewer from Windows installed, you can quickly check that everything looks all right. From here, we can go to the Unreal Engine, and that will be the next section of the video. But what you can do if you have a VR system, you can use the internal Blender function to start it in VR. So you can inspect your scene. And that is the same if you own a holographic display. You can just like activate it here and see it in live or in semi-live. If you wish to do that to make it look a bit prettier, you can click here on shading. And then you click here on new, and it will give you a principled BSDF plus the material output. And then you just drag and drop this texture in here. Connect the color to the base color, and you will see that you have the texture now overlain over the landscape. So now it's time to play with the Unreal Engine. Please open the software and then click here on Games and on Third Person. And here on the bottom left, you can put the path where you want to have the game. And here on the right hand side, you type in the project name. And please copy these settings as it is here. Click on create, and then it will take a while to open the project. And in this tutorial, I will not explain how the Unreal Editor works in detail, just like how you import the 3D model and then work with it. You can click here on dismiss and update. That's all good. You see on the left is a content folder, and under content, please right click, put new folder and call it level. And you will find that in your example where you saved the game under content, and now you find here level. And in this folder, please copy the 3D model and the video texture. This is important for later when you export the game and make it available to others, that all the files are in the gaming content. Now the Unreal Engine will ask you what to do with those files because they appeared in the menu, and you just click here on import. And for the FBX, just like copy these settings and click on import all. And then you get this notification that you can just click away. And you see in your content browser here in level, you have the 3D level and you have the texture. So to start a new level, click on File, New Level, Basic, Create. And then you see here this floor. You can just click on it and press Delete. And for the next step, you just drag and drop this lure in here. And now on the right hand side, scale it up to 50 by 50 by 50. But that is like open to you. You can choose your scale as you want. And now you see we have already the landscape. If you press now on the play button, you will see that you walk over the landscape as if there was a ceiling. So like how it works, it imports this as just as a block. And to change that, double click on this material or on this mesh here. And then here on the right hand side, scroll down until you find collision. And then you go here on the collision complexity to use complex as simple. Click on save. And now if you press play, you will see that you fall down in the landscape and now you can walk around. The next thing is that we want to give it the texture. So click on this texture that you have here, create material, and let's call it just AAA texture lure. This is just to find it super quickly in the selection. And here under material slots, just click on it and you see it pops up with this AAA in front. You get it right away. And then you press on save again. And now you can see it's already projected on the landscape. And if you press play again, you see that you walk around on the glacier. The next thing is that we will change a little bit of physical parameter for the reflection. So right now you see that the sun is reflecting here on the mountain and it looks a bit unnatural. To change that, we go here in this texture. And then for roughness, you just pull with the left mouse click this line, type in const and select the constant and change this one to 1. With that, you get a less reflective surface. Press save. And now you see already compared to before the step that you can see this much better. So this is the basic for the Unreal Engine. And from here, you can start now building your world, adding science content, and then in the end, export the game as a playable file. And then you can share it with whomever you want to produce it for. So as the last part of this video, I want to quickly show you how our latest game looks like. And we have here the basic game menu with the theory section for like all the theory we want to give to the students and how to play, who made this game. And then we have here, of course, the start fieldwork button. And if you play that, you start in the game. And then you can walk around and you will see now that here on the side, the videos pop up with instructions. And you can walk along on this corridor and then enter the glacier. And here on the glacier, you see we have a couple of NPCs that you can talk to, and then they will give you information on where those stakes are. And then you can see here this little orange dot that is right next to the stake. And this is a texture exported from the GIS. So this is actually the real location on the real glacier where the stake is. So the students that will play this game, they can have a look around and get an orientation. And then from the NPCs, they get information about the stakes, and the videos deliver information on what to do. And in the theory section, you get like all the equations and whatnot. And with that, I hope you have everything to create your own games.